In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make this Lacey puff stitch. It's what I would call a semi-lacy stitch. You can certainly use any yarn you'd like with it. Here's an example of a worsted yarn, size 4, and more information on this yarn will be in the description box below. And this I actually made with a superfine sock yarn. So you can kind of see the difference. They both work equally well. They both look equally nice. Now this makes a great design for an Afghan or even a baby blanket. It's got a little bit of chunk to it, so it's got a nice kind of weighted feel, but it's light and airy. So it's perfect for when things are, you know, they're not so cold, you need something heavy, but just something that you more or less want to either just take the chill off, or you're just looking for a little security wrap, but you don't want to overheat. This is a perfect stitch for that. Also, another great aspect of this stitch, just by virtue of its look, is I personally think that you could stop at, oh, let's say row 5, or even possibly row 8 or 9, and make a wonderful cuff out of this, like a really fun cuff for a sweater, or even the hem of a sweater, or even possibly a heavier skirt that you're making. Like maybe you want to trim out, oh, let's say your boho granny stitch square kind of sweater or even skirt or something like that. You want to mix it up a bit. You want to do something a little more interesting, but you don't want to deviate too far from the actual stitch itself in terms of size and perspective. This would make a great trim to finish something like that off with. It's also your interest and support that allows me to contribute new content and weekly videos. Help us all grow together by tapping the subscribe bar, notification bell, and like buttons. I look forward to your comments and always value your feedback. Now let's get started. In today's video, I am using Yarnspiration's Paton's sock yarn. The color is called Amethyst Stripes. It's really pretty. It's a 75% wool, 25% nylon blend. They say it's a super fine. I think it feels more like it's just coming in under a 2. But that's neither here nor there, really, I guess. It's nice. I'm also going to be using a size D hook for the Lacey puff stitch. And for those of you who go by millimeters, it's a 3.25 millimeter hook. So now for this particular pattern, we're going to work in multiples of even numbers. However, if you're one of the people who uses that very first chain that they make as the knot as opposed to an actual stitch, go ahead and do a +1 onto the beginning of your foundation chain. I am not one of those people, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm simply going to chain 30. 1, 2, 29, and 30. Next, I'm going to half double crochet in the third chain from my hook. I'm going to continue to half double crochet in each chain across my foundation row. Now that I've made half double crochets across my foundation chain, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn my work. And then I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to treat this chain 3 as a half double crochet plus a chain 1 here on the end. So this is going to count as my first stitch, and then I'm going to skip the next stitch, and I'm going to half double crochet in the stitch after that. And then I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to half double crochet, not in the next stitch, but in the stitch after that. Again, I'm going to chain 1, I'm going to skip the next stitch, and then I'm going to half double crochet in the one after that. And this is what I'm going to continue to do until I've reached the end of row 2. Once I've completed my second row, I'm going to turn my work. And this time I'm going to chain 2. And in this chain 1 space, this first chain 1 space, I am going to do a 4-strand puff stitch. Then I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to skip the next half double crochet, and then in the next chain 1 space I'm going to do another 4-strand puff stitch. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to yarn over, and then I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to insert into that chain 1 space, and I'm going to pull up a loop, 1 loop. I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to insert my hook again into that chain 1 space, and I'm going to pull up my next loop. Then I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to insert my hook and I'm going to pull up a loop a 3rd time. And then once again I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to insert my hook into that chain 1 space, and I'm going to pull up another loop for the 4th time. I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to pull that yarn all the way through my grouping of yarn. I'm going to slip stitch, and that'll be my 4-strand puff. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to do it again in the next chain 1 space. Now at the end of my row, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make my half double crochet right into that 2nd chain of that chain 2 turning stitch. And that's the completion of row 3, so it should look something like this. Next I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn my work. Then I'm going to chain 3. And then I'm going to half double crochet in the chain 1 space. And chain 1. Again, I'm going to half double crochet in the next chain 1 space. I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to half double crochet in the chain 1 space. I'm going to continue to do just that same stitch all the way down to complete my row 4. Now when you complete row 4, you should have something that looks like this. I'm going to turn my work. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain 2. And now we're going to start working rows 1 through 4 all over again. If you've stuck with me for this long, I'd like to encourage you to go ahead and check out my other stitch tutorials in my crochet stitch library on my playlist. I think you might find something there that you're going to like just as much as this. Now is the time for me to say goodbye, however. So until I see all you wonderful and creative fiber artists again, stay crafty, stay amazing. Bye-bye now.